Hi everyone, in this video I'm going to show you how we set up a standalone booth for an indoor craft show. I'm Tanner and welcome to another video. If this is your first time to our channel and want to learn more about growing your craft business, what it's like to be a full-time artist, and craft tutorials, start by clicking the subscribe button and hitting the bell. Today we're setting up at the beautiful Reynolds Museum in Wetaskiwin, and I'm going to take you on a quick tour of this unique location. We had this space for several years at this show, and as you can see, it's not like a uniform, trade show, craft show type booth. You set up right in with the displays, so you have to kind of get a visual if you can beforehand, or give yourself some extra time when you're moving in so you can work around this, because you can't touch any of the displays. But I was able, we'll show some pictures here, but I was able to set up our racking in front and the tables down along here, and you can tell how dark it is here too. Especially if you move back a little bit, all of your items will be in the dark, so you really need to bring at least some work lamps or some sort of lighting to shows like this. This is our space. As you can see, it's not a 10 by 10 configuration, so it's a standalone booth as well, meaning that it's not in some sort of laid out grid or something like that. There's a booth here and there throughout the display, and we're gonna see what kind of interesting configuration I can come up with this year for this show. So as you can see, there's no pipe and drape, and there's just an extension cord dropped in from the back. Today is the Friday before the show opens, and the show promoter allowed us a couple hours to come in this evening and start setting up the booth, which is a great opportunity if you can get it, because you can try out some different booth ideas, or if something doesn't work, you have time to reconfigure it or bring something with you the next day, and that way you're actually prepared when the doors open, because it can be pretty cramped moving in day of, like a couple hours before the doors open to the public, and trying to set up a proper display. Depends on what you have, but I find that's very challenging. As you can see, I bring the tablecloth flush to the floor. That way I can use all underneath the tables for storage. This pegboard system is from IKEA, and I found it pretty handy. You have to buy the clamps for the tabletop separately, but it's really useful for displaying all kinds of different types of items. I've also hung them off the grid wall in the past as well on a more cramped space. So these grid wall come with nuts and bolts to put them together, but in this case I'm using zip ties, and then if I need to, I'll just cut them off at the end of the show, or I can pack them in my cargo van as is. I found that the bolts get bent and break off when you're transporting them between shows anyways, so zip ties only last a little while, but it's easier than having to try to pry the bolt back out to just cut the zip ties off. So for a lot of shows lately, I've been doing this. This is a tub that I brought my products in, or one of my product tubs, and I got that at IKEA. And this is just a shelf out of the IKEA surplus area. So we got that for a few dollars. You can see I've beat it up a little bit, but that doesn't matter, as I'm gonna put a tablecloth on top of it. Just have this small kind of cheap black tablecloth, but it looks nice. And I'll just drape it over here. I do this even at the farmers markets now. It simplifies, and then you don't need to bring an extra table, especially if you have a smaller car. It's nice, but it's also nice not to have so much to lift. And then to finish it off, pop some grid up here. I'm going to attach this with some tarp straps, but you could use zip ties as well. And this gives you a really nice display. It's up enough so that you can see it over the top of the table, and you get really good use out of your grid wall. You don't have to bring anything extra really other than the shelf. So as you can see, I'm not 100% done setting up here. This is just all I could fit into our small SUV today. And tomorrow I'm gonna come back early in the morning prior to the show starting and bring in the lighting and the other items that I couldn't fit into the SUV today. And then I'm gonna show you what the booth looks like once I've completed it. For a show like this, the way I kind of shut the booth down at night is to put some tablecloths, or sometimes I use my tent walls from my outdoor shows at my indoor shows and use them as a shroud for my booth. But since this one doesn't have any pipe and drape, at least not today, I'm bringing that tomorrow. I'm gonna put these tablecloths over all the products, and then that way everything is just sort of out of sight until I get here in the morning. So I'm just going to go over a few of the displays that I've set up since the initial move-in. This is a corner grid wall display, and I added to it some of the corner shelves that I showed in a previous video. Down here we have another one of the IKEA shelves, just like on the other tub, and below it some more IKEA tubs. And those are actually my product tubs, so that's why I am showing them, because I'm showing how I kind of can multi-purpose them. There are our lights and our pipe and drape. Unfortunately, I grabbed a pipe that was a little bit too short this time. I grabbed the wrong one out of the garage, so it's not exactly what I wanted, but it does do the trick. It gives me some curtain space as well as a spot to hang some of the signs. The light fixtures are just track lighting from my Home Depot. And over here, I wanted to draw some attention to the second IKEA pegboard. This one, the clamps didn't work with the table, so I had to zip tie it onto the grid wall there. And I just wanted to bring that up because it's always a good idea to bring a lot of zip ties with you. I get them at the dollar store, but they're invaluable when you have something like this come up, and you can quickly modify what you were going to do on the spot. And finally, I just wanted to show that we had brought a couple of our glass countertops here, and these are really a nice touch. It gives a nice professional finish to the booth. Even if you don't have anything particularly high ticket to put in there, they do make the booth look a lot more drawn together. And then on top of that, I put our monitor, which shows some of our videos about our processes and that kind of thing. And this is a smaller glass case that I bring to smaller shows. Hey guys, I'm back in the studio working on a few customer orders before I head into the show tomorrow. For more content like this, please subscribe and hit the notification bell.